Welcome to week 11 of the Industry Readiness program. This week, Model Context Protocol fills the gap retrieval-augmented generation cannot cover structured live data. 13 minutes. Retrieval-augmented generation territory, handbook search, frequently asked question grounding, long document corpora, fuzzy phrase queries. Model Context Protocol territory. What is the status of ticket 4827? Live tenant counts, file system actions, database queries with joins. Structured plus live equals MCP, fuzzy plus static equals RAG. The two complement each other. Your production agent needs both. MCP architecture at a glance. Client, Claude Code, Claude Desktop, or your own application. Transport, the wire protocol, stdio or streamable HTTP. Server, your BISTEC data and tools written in any language. MCP is a wire protocol, not a framework. Server authors pick the language. Clients pick the model. Anyone can write either side. Transports, stdio, local development, IDE plugins, per user tools, process level, no auth, simplest to ship, streamable HTTP, deployed servers with many clients. Needs OAuth, API key, or MTLS. Previous HTTP with SSE transport is legacy. For new work, use streamable HTTP, BISTEC convention, stdio for dev against a teammate's laptop, streamable HTTP for production deploys behind Azure AD. Every MCP tool has 3 fields. Name, short, snake case, verbs at the start. Description, what the tool does, what it returns, its limits, its side effects. Write for Claude to read, not a human skimming docs. Input schema, strict JSON schema with required fields, types, and enums. On screen, the search tickets tool with query, priority, and limit parameters, and an explicit note that the tenant filter is applied automatically. A weak description gets tickets. Claude has to guess. Tickets by ID, by status, how many. A strong description names what the tool does, states the limits and defaults, and tells Claude when to call it. On screen, search BISTEC tickets by natural language query. Returns up to 10 ordered by recency and relevance. Tenant scoped. Use when the user asks about specific tickets or recent work. Claude reads that once, knows when to call and when to skip. MCP exposes 2 surfaces. Tools, actions. The model calls them. They take parameters. Side effects allowed. Examples, search tickets, update priority, create draft. Resources, content, the client fetches them. They are addressed by URI, read-only context. Examples, file, docs glossary, MD, ticket. On screen, the minimum viable search tickets MCP server in TypeScript. Import the SDK, construct a new server with a name and version. Register a list tools request schema handler that returns an array with one tool definition. Register a call to request schema handler that destructures the arguments, pulls the tenant identifier from the authentication context, never from the arguments, runs the database search with the tenant filter, and returns content as a text block. 15 lines of code, ships. On screen, the mcp-inspector command, pm-pm-dlx, Model Context Protocol Inspector, node dist server. JS opens a web UI, lists your server's tools and resources, lets you call each tool with arbitrary inputs, shows the raw JSON RPC messages, catches malformed schemas immediately. BISTEC rule, no MCP server ships until inspector lists every tool with no schema errors. Run it before wiring into Claude Desktop or Claude Code. Security. Rule 1, tenant filter always. Derive the tenant from the authentication context, not from the arguments. Never trust a tenant parameter. Rule 2, read only by default. Write tools gated by an explicit scope. Destructive operations require confirmation. A dry run mode flag on mutations. Rule 3, audit log. Every tool call writes one row. Who, when, what, result size. Append only, retain 180 days. Rule 4, rate limits. Per tenant and per tool. Burst caps at client and server. Return 429 with a retry after header. Tool definitions sit alongside the system prompt in cache control blocks. Every schema edit invalidates the cache. Versioning discipline, stable tool surface per release cycle. Rename with care. If you edit a schema mid-deploy, your cache hit rate drops to 0 until the 5-minute TTL rolls over. Plan schema changes around cache windows. Week 11 deliverable. 3 artifacts. 1. The server code. A TypeScript MCP server with stdio transport for development, exposing at least 2 tools. 2. mcp-inspector pass. Inspector lists all tools, 0 schema errors, screenshot committed to the repository. 3. Security notes. A 1-page ADR covering tenant filter, audit log, and rate limit policy. Submit Friday. Week 12 composes retrieval-augmented generation and model context protocol into a multi-agent pipeline, closing month 3 with the midpoint evaluation. The takeaway from week 11. MCP for live and structured data. Descriptions that teach tenant filtering code, not in arguments. Inspector before Claude. Coming in week 12, month 3 close. The agentic loop, plan, execute, verify, iterate, planner plus executor plus verify topology. Forced disagreement, verify prompts that actually find errors, not rubber stamps. The midpoint evaluation. Your track for months 4 through 6, enterprise only or enterprise plus startup, is decided at week 12. File today's training diary entry. See you in week 12.